Hey everyone, I'm just going to create a quick video showing you how to add audio into Blender. So I just opened up a brand new Blender setup. If it looks a little bit different than what you have at home, it's because I'm using Blender 2.82, I believe, is the latest version. I just downloaded it, so it might look a little bit different, but this will be the same in any version of 2.8. So I'm going to go to a new 2D animation setup, which is what you would use to actually kind of animate in here and draw and whatnot, like we've done before a lot. But what we're going to do is we're going to create a new area to add the audio. Blender actually has a bunch of video editing capabilities that you can use with the video sequence editor is what you use to do that, and you actually have to add it in there to add the audio. It's not like Maya where you can just add it into like the timeline. So I'm going to open up the video sequence editor to do that. I'm just going to make this panel bigger, and then I'm going to hold my mouse over any corner of this panel. And you could make this anywhere, but it just makes the most sense to kind of do it in the grease pencil dope sheet. So if I hover my mouse over the corner, you'll see that little crosshair kind of button comes up. I just click and then drag it down. You drag in the direction you want, and I'm holding my mouse still just to kind of select how big I want the panel to be. And as soon as I stop dragging, it'll create it. If for every reason you want to remove this panel, you can do that by hovering your mouse over and then clicking and dragging towards another panel, and you'll see it grays that area out, and then I stop clicking and then it closes it. So if you end up accidentally opening up a bunch, that's what will happen. You can use that to kind of get rid of them. Unfortunately, you can't undo this because it's not considered an action. It's just considered changing the viewport. But yeah, so I'm just going to click drag, create a second panel. And now what I need to do is I'm going to change this bottom one to be the video sequence editor. And to do that, I'm going to go hover over to the corner. Every window has this little corner that signifies what panel they are at this moment. So you could change this panel to be anything. For instance, I could make this an outliner. So I have another outline here, or I could even do make this my system preferences, or like a shader editor. Any of these editor types can fit in this panel. But we want to select the video sequencer right here. And this is basically like the timeline you have in Premiere Pro. So what I'm going to do is hit add, and then I want to add a sound. This window will pop up where you can browse for what you want. Sometimes this volumes window is closed, so you can't really find things. You just have to open up that volumes window. In this case, I have to go to my D drive and go find the file. Go to my Blender setup. I have a folder for my sound, and then I have two clips here. They're kind of the same, and I think both of them will work. Just hit add sound strip. Now you'll see I have this blue kind of sound strip that popped up. In my area, we can't see any waveform on it by default, and to do that, you just have to select it first. If it's not selected, it will be this kind of like lighter color. If I select it, it turns that darker color. And then I need to open this side menu here, the properties menu. If I just hover my mouse over there and click on it, it'll open this menu up, which is just for any properties here. So I can click on this guy and then hit display waveform, and now I'll have a waveform. You can always do stuff like change the pitch and whatnot. You can even edit this inside Blender, which is pretty cool. So I can click on this corner to make it shorter or longer. I can just click and move it around, as well as if you want to kind of cut anything, you can right click and then use the cut option. So I can actually cut and edit the strip here inside Blender, which is pretty cool. But in this case, we want just to use it to kind of work to while we're working. So what I'm going to do is just look at the end frame here. I just look at my time slider number, it's right here, frame 320, 329, sorry. So I'm just going to make my end frame around that, say M340. And now if I play this, you should be able to hear the audio.
But don't you realize what you're doing? You're destroying the earth. All this greed.
Cool. There is a couple things you want to do as well, just to make sure that this is playing in real time. So if you go into your timeline down here at the bottom, right here is a playback option. If you click on that, you just want to make sure that it says no sync right now. You just say AV sync. So it will always sync to the audio in the video, as well as you want to have audio scrubbing. If you turn this on, then you can scrub the file, and it'll even do it when you're scrubbing in the grease pencil editor, or if you had a timeline and whatnot. So yeah, that's pretty much how to add audio into Blender. What I do at this point, if you don't need it, you can always close this window, or you could change this to be timeline, for instance, and just kind of drag this back down, or even just hover your mouse over and close it.
But don't you realize what you're doing?
And now I have the audio in the scene, and I can scrub with it. If I wanted to edit it, all I have to do is click create a new window, go back to my video sequencer, and now I can kind of see the waveform edit with it. If you want to have it all the time, a handy tip is I'm just holding Control and middle mouse clicking at the same time and just scrubbing up, so I can just fit this panel a bit better. And if I press the home button, it'll frame it for me. So I can kind of, if you want to have it while you're working, actually see the audio. Sometimes that's handy, so you can see where the kind of important cues are and whatnot, for where you'd want to cut, or for posing. So you could always just have this up too while you're working, and if you want to kind of hide it, you can just kind of crush it down and pull it up for when you want to use it. So that's how to add audio into Blender.